think Huntsville was the closest area. But then, you know, Woodville prisons came about. And then not only prisons in Woodville, then you had prisons come up in Newton. And then you had other prisons come up in Beaumont. So within a 60-mile radius, you got 4 prisons that pop up in the 90s, right? And so when these people are released, the tendency is you don't have a lot of money, so you're gonna travel to where you can get to a decent community where you can get a job. And Jasper looks like that safe, decent community because we have tourism coming in and all that other stuff. So I think it was kind of a, like, you know, in the book Tipping Point, it talks about all these little small decisions that happen. And I think the plant closing, the prisons coming in, the close-knit African American society, the society receiving access now to a bigger society. So now we can play in we can play in the Jasper Baseball League. So you don't need the Lone Star anymore. You with me? So now, and I think you see that kind of the negative implications of desegregation. I think begin to hit the community and all that. So anyway, I just think all of those things begin to factor into to this event evolving. But again, it could have happened anywhere, you know. And but I do see, I did see, I feel like, and this is just my McFarland, that after the event occurred, I think the leaders in Jasper, they all pulled together. We did what we could do, but I also think you saw a counter emergence too. I think you saw a situation where. Am I saying too much? Okay. So I think you saw a situation.
She's like, we'll cross it out later.
And this is just me, but I think you saw a situation where because so much attention and support was given to the incident, and it became a black-white incident, and you had so much support given to the black community, that you saw another community very similar to what's going on right now in the nation. You saw so much support given to this one community that then this other community that's been laying dormant kind of rises up and say, wait a minute.
That's not right.
Huh?
What did they say? Did they rose up?
No, I think, okay, so I think I think that what happened was that the power brokers from the white community got tired of all this attention coming to the plight of the African American in Jasper. And because of that, then they begin to rise back up.
Okay.
You know, and then when they begin to rise back up, you'll notice if you look at all the political positions and all that, it begin to shift. And it's different now, more different now from what I know about it than what it was before, because they felt like Jasper was getting all this all this attention in a negative, and the African Americans in Jasper were getting all these additional benefits and all this, and they were being left out, and they were being left as the guilty ones, and you know. So then they started to feel, and so now they got to rally the troops, and they got to rise back up to show you, no, we're gonna rise back up and take our community back. It's not.
But for a while, I think it was okay. Everybody was
Right.
united. We were linked, you know, arms
Right
and
after it
arms.
happened.
And I'm saying we, but you know, from afar, me, were, you know, united, and it went on for a while, and it was, oh, here we are, we're this one big happy to put this out to the world that we are not what you say we are. We are really a unified community, and I think it was an attempt, you know, kind of like Michael said, to go over, you know, above and beyond to, you know, say hello to the black people as you're walking down the street and let you come into here. And then after a while, maybe it became, okay, that's enough.
That's enough.
You know,
Yeah.
and we did this.
'Cause it's not
And so
working anyway.
that's not true,
Yeah.
you know, that's not a real change. But then, like we've been saying this the whole time, it could have happened anywhere, meaning, and that's how I still defend it, because when I tell people I'm from, they'll say, where are you from, Jasper? Wait.
Oh,
And then they say, wait, what do I know about that
Right.
place? And now I used to say it's, you know, where that horrible incident occurred. Then I just say, I wait, and they, oh yeah, this is what happened. I said, you know, it could have happened anywhere. And usually I'm in the Dallas area, and I'll say it could have happened in Dallas, Texas, the same thing, because it was just a case where there were awful, ugly, mean people that were racist and just did that, and it just happened in Jasper. Well, it could have happened in Dallas. It could have happened in, you know,
it probably
Tyler
did.
or
Some
Fort
incidents
Worth,
like
and
that.
it probably did. And then they're saying, well, and they always want to know. They ask me. I'm on interview then. So what about? So what was it like growing up? You know, and I tell them, and then I always tell the story about the majorette incident that occurred, and different things that I remember about working at the bank, and all those. And so they're like, oh, okay. So I said, you know, it was just the way it was. And then I started explaining. They're like, okay. And I said, so that could happen here. There are probably still people that are racist people in Dallas, Fort Worth, Tyler, wherever, that are secretly undercover. You know, that we don't know. I mean, we know it still exists in the nation. So then that's how I go on explaining that.
Okay. What about the response from the law enforcement at that time? Did you guys think the response was quick enough? Do you think it was appropriate? What were y'all's feelings when that was going on?
I thought it was extremely quick. I thought it was good. I mean, I thought they did what they quickly, you know, apprehended them, and I think everything was good as it relates to that. And it would have happened anyway, but I think the media attention actually helped to make sure it happened. And I didn't feel that way when all the media attention was there. Honestly, I felt like people were grabbing hold to the attention and trying to benefit from the attention, and you know. And there were several people I was like, man, now why are they here now? They're in front of the cameras trying to get the attention, right? But then I began to think, well, but I mean, I'm thinking about national leaders come in, and I'm like,
Jesse Jackson and Al
Well, it was
Sharpton
their
and
opportunity to fight for, you know, for rights and what they believed in, and so. But then I think also, again, because it was such a horrific, awful crime, they had to. You had to have people to come in and step up, because we needed, you know, reinforcements. We needed everybody to come in and unite and come together, because because justice had to be done.
Right.
Just think about if they would not have apprehended those people as quickly as they did, it would have been, you know, all hell would be breaking loose. So
that helped smooth things over.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Y'all keep bringing up the media. Now, what do you have to say? Do you think the media coverage was good? Because I know CNN was there. I know they had people from all over the world, 2020.
right.
What was your response? Because it sounds like that's how you found out most of your information.
Yeah. Well, I initially thought the media was making this more of a skeptical than what it should have been. I thought they were really. I thought the media was sensationalizing it and making it more, and trying to make Jasper this place that really Jasper is not, you know. And in some cases, some of the productions I've seen have really, I think, have been done in poor taste. I think they try to paint Jasper as this far way backwoods country Hoboken place, when actually it's the farthest thing from that.
That's right.
You know,
Especially at that time.
Yeah, at that time it was one of the most progressive, if not the most progressive. It was definitely one of the most progressive small East Texas communities. Because I would venture to say that there was probably no other East Texas community that had an African American mayor, you know, city council, president of the school board, all that stuff. It was not there. I guarantee you can't find one. You know, maybe, I don't know, but I think I felt like the media had distorted the picture, because it's a better story if you can just show that we're a bunch of backwoods country people, and you know, walking around with our chewing the bag, right? And our overalls on, with our pants rolled up, and you know, a bunch of huck fins. But that's not who we were at all. And so I felt like the media went too far in that respect.
Okay.
I think the media would have done a much better job if they had presented Jasper as one of these progressive communities, which it was. And it happened there. And so if it happened there, it could happen in your town. Because I think the way they presented it made it say, oh, that would happen here, because I wouldn't let, you know. And even with I don't know, I can't remember which one it was, but you know, like there was a couple scenes on one of the movies I watched, and they were in the Jim Bell, the hotel where,
Bed and breakfast.
Yeah, no, I mean, now okay, this again, as more I think about that, you know, maybe this was one of those deals, but we never go in there, but they made it like that was just this natural hangout. It wasn't. We never even go.
Yeah, we never did go in there. That was not the place that we hung.
Yeah, it wasn't the place we wanted to go. You know? Have y'all been there or something?
Yeah, we have.
Did you stay there? Okay,
I stayed there.
Oh,
did you?
you did. Ooh, you got to stay there. But I mean, you know, and I don't know if we'll get to talking about this or not, but even though we have all these horrible stories to tell, we have wonderful stories to tell.
Yeah.
Also, because the district attorney at the time it was Guy James Gray, right? Well, I used to babysit his kids. I was
Oh,
telling
okay.
Michael, I was their babysitter. You know, they would come to our neighborhood, pick me up, and then he and his wife would go out and, you know. And
So you were really the help.
No, I was there. No, actually, no. Well, you know what?
But she was the
they
house.
trusted me. Yeah, I was at their home. I guess I could be. And I was a teenager. I probably was because I couldn't drive, so I might have been 13. But they trusted me, so I was not the help. But anyway, and so I mean, you know, there were things, and then they come, and because I needed to make some extra money, and his wife, I think, knew my mother, and so I went to their home and kept their boys. Not that I raised them, because I was kind of like one of their boys. Well, I say the boys were younger than me, but it was just stuff like that. I mean, we have wonderful relationships with people in the town, so not.
It's not all bad.
It's not
Yes.
all like that. I'm thinking it's probably a small percentage of that, and then Michael probably disagrees, and I don't want to paint it as this wonderful town that is so, you know, we're so integrated, and that's not
That's
the
why
case
we wanted to
either.
interview you both at the same time, so that you kind of play off each other. I think that's good.
Yes,
to
but
get
I
both
mean,
sides.
and that's why I'm saying they're wonderful things. I mean, we have relationships, and you know how people say, "Oh, I had black friends and I had white friends." Well, we had white friends, black friends, you know, kind of a mix, you know. I mean, through school, so we cannot, you know, we cannot ignore that piece of it. You know,
I agree.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we were, you know, as you asked the question, separate but equal. And I think we thought we were separate, but we were better.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's what we just thought we were. I mean, really, and not better in a negative way, but
In a
there
good
was.
way. We're
yes.
fine with it.
Yeah, because there was
we wanna be
nothing that
open
they
here.
were doing
Yeah,
that
we
we
were
really
missing.
wanted to do anyway. We didn't want to, because we enjoyed our deal. I mean, it's kind of, I'm listening to it. It doesn't sound right, but it was what we experienced. You know.
We had, because of our leaders, and because
Yeah.
of people, you know, like, you know, our parents, his mom, his dad, you know, everybody in our community and in our churches, and we had the things that we needed. We were not missing in anything. You know, we could, if we weren't allowed to participate in those pageants, we had our own. You know, we weren't allowed to participate in the baseball league, we had our own. We weren't allowed to, what was some of the other things?
Swimming pool, we had
yeah,
our own
swimming
swimming
pool.
pool.
Oh, we had our own. You know, it took us a while to get it, but we had our own. And so we just learned how to kind of, you know, coexist, or what I'm saying but exist in our area, which is segregation. You know,
Yeah, that's
it's
not right.
segregation.
Yeah, but that's what.
But I
Growing up,
mean,
you
it
didn't realize
was. We
that.
didn't
Yeah.
really realize that. And so now, as I'm thinking back, that's why it's like it's hitting me now. You know, and not that I was like in the dark, but we always try to see the good in people and just not think that. But when we moved out of there, then we started hearing things and finding out different things that were not the norm. You know.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
When
I know
y'all meet new people, like friends, do they ever ask y'all, isn't that a racist town?
That's what. Yeah. I was.
Yeah.
That's probably the first.
earlier.
That's for yeah.
Yeah, the
and that's
first thing.
and what I say is no different than any other
Yeah,
town I've
yeah.
lived in. That's
Right.
what we that's what
Right.
that's my response always, because I just can, if I just talk about Tyler, for example, there's a North Tyler and a South Tyler. And Front Street is the dividing line. Everybody in the city knows that. They don't have a white full square, but it's the same thing.
Same thing.
It's the zip code. It's the same
And
thing.
Waco is East Waco.
Right.
And
That's
Dallas,
the way to go.
It's the same. It
Yeah.
really is. It really is. And I guess the thing I think
Tracks.
Yeah, the tracks.
we had a debate in school about segregation and all that, and the pros and cons of it. Was it good for African Americans? Was it bad for and I really believe that man, it was good. Let me back. It was the good part about it was how we dealt with the reality of it. I mean, the good part about segregation was how we dealt with it. It forced us to deal with and come up and take responsibility and create our own. I mean, when I say us, meaning our parents and our leaders. When desegregation occurred, the positive with desegregation was the fact that we had access to all these quality things. But the problem is we were not in any positions to make any changes to the system. So we were just basically taken into this system that was not designed to benefit us. Whereas we were a part of a system before that was designed first and foremost for us. So now you desegregate it, and so you go into this other system that's not really designed for our benefit.
That's right. So you're not in the leadership
not-
position.
yeah.
You're kind of trying to get a piece of the pie.
And then I think that's what, and everybody trying to get that piece, then you just, you yeah. So I think that was the negative, but in Jasper, I think, and I'm not saying good or bad, but the reality is you can think about how most of my aunts and my grandmother made their living. They worked for the white folks, which I'm not saying it's good or bad, but that's just how it works. That was their that was their career opportunity. That was their opportunity. They did that and put us through college and did all that. I'm not saying all that.
And that was actually considered a good position.
And
to
it
have.
was.
If you had that position, you were
That was
doing
what?
better than
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
And that's true. Yeah. I started thinking about that.
It
I'm
is.
thinking that even was happening way late
Yeah.
because I remember my
70s and
mother,
80s.
being sort of like a nurse assistant to a white lady,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was still
Yeah.
there for many years.
Right, and I can't sit here and say that I experienced my parents just didn't allow it, didn't let it happen. As she mentioned that and I don't think even if people had that in their mind or their hearts to do, they wouldn't do it to me or
Because
to
of
us
your parents.
Right, because of our parents.
Yeah, they would. So there may be my other classmates that I had that were not that probably had a different experience. Things, because I just think about the courses. I was just thinking about me personally. I think about the courses and the classes that I was a part of. And I can remember one. I'm not gonna call the teacher's name, but I can remember one situation very specific that gave me an idea that there was a different experience that some of my friends were having. In the 8th grade, I was average English student, and asked my teacher whether she thought I should get in premium English or not. She told me she didn't think I would, and she was African American, but she told me she didn't think I should, and so I did. And I remember going into that premium English, that regular English class, and of course I made good grades, and I spent the year in there. And the friends that I had been in class with, because I was on the other track, I was on the other track.
College.
Yeah, right. And so the next year, well, actually, first of all, the friends that were in premium English class was experiencing a total different experience, total different curriculum, being asked to do totally different things than what I was in that regular English class. Matter of fact, their track was easier because they were asked to do as much rote memorization. They were able to write, think, discuss, all that kind of stuff. So then, of course, I got into that other track the next year, and it was easier than what but it was
Different.
it was different. And I'm like, man, that.
It's like the GT program.
Exactly. Yeah, because I'm in the class now with all these, and I had been in class with a lot of them before that 9th grade experience. Because before I was in this protected area, I was 1 or 3 or 4 in my class, but all my classmates were all close. It was not a discrimination deal there, and but it was different. It was. That was just a systematic piece, but it was. And we didn't have anybody that I can remember that were in central office positions, that were in positions that could make any difference about that.
Or principals, you didn't have any African American principals or
Yeah,
office managers.
we did, yeah.
We did?
Because
well, probably
Mr. Moore,
during your time. Oh, yeah.
like in fourth or fifth grade, but like middle school, high school, no.
But we had lots of African American teachers.
And they were,
I remember.
I'm not in any of the leadership positions. Yeah, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 more questions for you, and then we're going to let you good people go today. What lasting impressions do you think others have of Jasper? I know you kind of touched on this, and then also, along with that, do you think it differs for African Americans and Anglos, that lasting impression?
I think you almost, if you are familiar with the community, you grew up there, then you are going to definitely have a different viewpoint or perspective from someone who is on the outside looking in or just came on later, because you really don't know what the community is like. So you have to have lived there to kind of know. But for the most part, I think people think it could have happened anywhere kind of thing. This is no different from the way cities are right now, the way Dallas is, the way Tyler is. You know, I think that's kind of the impression.
I would agree, and I just think, you know, for me, you know, I love Jasper, and I'll you know, as soon as I retire or we retire, we would want to go back there, live there, and you know, give back to the community. I mean, it's a great place. It's a great place to live. It's a great place, I think, to raise kids. I think it is a small, close knit community where you got adults who care about the kids, where I think people can flourish if that's what they choose to do. And I think most people, most of my classmates that I talk to, and I don't talk to many, but most of them, you know, have the same positive feeling about Jasper. I think both black and white. I think that in this situation, I think that maybe because of the media distortion of the city and the community, I think a lot of the white people in Jasper have gotten a bad rap. I think that I do believe that, because the reason I say that is because the majority of the folks there, you know, both the folks I grew up with, the folks that were in power positions and all that, majority of them were good people. You know, I mean, I don't, maybe one or two that I can remember that I had a direct, but that's anywhere. No more than any other city, I guess is what I'm telling you. But if I were white from Jasper, I'd be embarrassed because of the way it's, you know, because the way things have been presented. But I don't know if there's really a reason for them to be embarrassed, you know, because
It's not their fault.
it's really not. I mean, I don't think I don't hold that. I do think that the adults that are in my mom's generation and her mom's generation, because they're all good friends, I think that group did such a phenomenal job of creating this secure community, and they're still doing it. And I think the issue is that we all left, you know, because they made it possible for us to leave, and we all left. And the problem is that we all are so busy doing all this other stuff, living, that we're not back now. And because we're not back there building the infrastructure to keep the kids safe and doing all that stuff, then I don't know if the kids are having the same experience that we had. But it doesn't have anything to do with the white folks or discrimination or segregation. I think it's more economy, and I think it's more just the reality of how things evolve. And I think that if the younger generation that are my age and the folks that are, you know, 30, anywhere from 30 to 50, because that's the age they were. All these folks that were in all these organizations, the 30 to 50, they had all these things going for us. And we just show up and we benefit. And our kids right now, you're like, you know, her mom and my mom, they're still doing all the same things that they were doing for us. They're just doing it for everybody else's kids.
Not even for their
Well, not even
grandchildren.
for
So just for other people.
They just do it because they just love that.
That's
You know,
great.
it's
Seriously.
that. Yeah. And all of the people that grew up with them, it's like they were raised. I think it's because they probably experienced so much negativity related to segregation that they took it as a sense of responsibility to build this community and to make sure that we didn't experience it. And they did such a great job
Good job, Larry.
that we.
Y'all were empowered.
But you know, we
You
tell
were empowered
people
to
though,
do it.
we say it's a great place. We would to raise a family because we were raised there, and I feel like if it was such a horrible place, our parents, you know, they have great sense. They're smart people. They
Yeah.
would not have kept us there.
Right.
It's true.
And so, and I say it's a great place to raise a family, but once you become an adult, then you want to move away because there's nothing there for like a young adults, for people that are, you know, that don't have kids or whatever. But as far as raising the school system, I guess it's, you know, getting there. The school system and everything else, the churches, the community, it's a great place to raise a family, as well as a place to come back and retire once you've gotten the kids away, and then, you know, for grandkids to come. So I have to make sure that I say that to everybody that asks me about that. What kind of place is it?
Yeah.
What about your own children? Do you guys have children, and what are their ages?
We
That's something
do.
we haven't talked
Right.
about.
Yeah, we're a blended family, and
Okay.
so we have two boys that I had before we married, 20 years old and 12, and then he has two daughters, a 12-year-old and a 10, McFarland's 10, a 10-year-old.
Fifth grade and seventh grade.
Yes,
Okay.
and so yes,
Yeah.
they go. You know, and sometimes when we have to go for, not have to go, but when we do decide to go for holidays to visit, like to take them to visit grandparents, they're like, oh, I want to go, because there's nothing to do. That's what they say, there's nothing to do. And then they usually get down there and they enjoy it. They do the country stuff, they call it.
Yeah.
You know,
Fishing.
4-wheelers and all that kind of, the fishing and just walking through the woods and all the things that make it.
Okay, and then the last question is, how do you see the future of Jasper? Do you see things getting better, remaining the same, or getting worse?
Well, I think it really depends. Probably the thing that concerns me more than anything is that the economy now, as I know it, and I have very limited knowledge about the intricacies of the economy, but the prisons are now such a big industry in that area. And that unless there's some other major entity coming in, which there could be, unless there's some other major entity coming in that I don't know about, then for a community to really, for the prison to be really a good job, and it is for a lot of folks, good benefits, good salary, good. I think when you're building a community based on that, that's gonna be a challenging situation. I guess let me say that, because you want your economy to be built around something that's going to attract people and attract a knowledge base, a talent base to the city. That may be good opportunities for people who want